Hello and welcome to the week ahead video. A very busy week, as is normally the case in around mid-September, to draw a lot of participants to their desks in what's likely to be a very volatile trading week for a number of asset classes, not just here in Europe but also over in the US. Starting off chronologically on Wednesday, we see the Bank of England minutes release, where another split among the MPC is expected, with Wheel and McCafferty expected to stick to their votes for a 25 basis point hike. However, weak inflation and uncertain global economic conditions will more than likely keep the other members of the MPC on a wait-and-hold stance, leaving the vote split at 7-2. This is followed by the FOMC rate decision due later in that evening on Wednesday, where the FOMC are expected to conduct another taper to their QE program, keeping the Fed on course to conclude QE3 by October. The risks of the FOMC statement are for a slightly more hawkish than expected statement itself. A lot of eyes are looking towards the phrasing that the FOMC will use, as the prior meeting's use of the phrase keeping accommodative policy for a considerable period of time could potentially be revised at this week's FOMC statement. Moving on towards Thursday then, we have the Scottish independence referendum. This has been a very big concern for UK assets as we head in towards the Thursday vote. Opinion polls are still relatively mixed, giving no firm lead to either the no or the yes vote, showing that it is really well and truly to the wire this Thursday. Should Alex Salmond's yes vote be the successor, then we could have a lot of weakness in UK assets, as around about a tenth of the UK's GDP is cut off and called into question, particularly in regards to the concerns over just who will be Scotland's lender of last resort and just what currency will Scotland use. Then moving on to that, we have the first of two TLTRO operations from the ECB. This week's is designed to have a maximum allotment of around 400 billion euros, so all eyes will be on just how big these bids are. If the bids do come in exceeding 400 billion, we could see a lot of downside in Euribor rates across the curve, as well as the Ionia moving further into negative territory, which we did see for the first time just a couple of weeks back after the ECB cut their deposit rate further into negative territory. Then moving on to Friday, we have one of the closest watched IPOs in recent history, that's Alibaba. We have already seen on Monday morning Alibaba said to have been setting their IPO price range higher and revising that up to north of $70 a share. So we'll just see how well that is subscribed on Friday, where we also see quadruple witching, also likely to result in a lot of volatility over in the US. Of course, we'll bring you all those releases and any news flow regarding those pieces of data as soon as they hit the wires this week. As always, they have a fantastic 5 days of trade. That's all from me. Thanks for joining me.